currently doing the
We tell you
invocation.
thank you for waking
She's
us
the
up this
Deputy
morning to
Religious
come to
Advisor to
today
the
evening.
President of the
We
Republic of
tell you thank
Liberia.
you for your protection to one
Next will
our
be
nation,
welcome remarks
Mama
by
Liberia. We
Mrs.
tell you
Philomena
thank you
E.
for the women in
Sedita,
the nation.
the
As
Minister
we
of
are
Gender
coming
and
back up,
Children,
we need peace, we need joy and happiness.
Minister of
And let
Gender,
your way be
Children,
done, not our
Social
own.
Protection.
In Jesus' name we
She
pray.
will do the official welcome remarks right after the invocation.
Thank you.
And then following the invocation, a reading of proclamation will be done by Ms. Faith Noah.
Minister
She's
Corporal
the
and
representative for
Minister
the
General,
Disabled Children Forum of Liberia.
Honorable Dr. E. Sedita, Minister Gender, Children and Social Protection.
So the Gender Minister will now do the official welcome remarks here.
His Excellency Dr. George Manawiya, President of the Republic of Liberia, Her Excellency Chief Dr. Jewel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Her Excellency Mrs. Clara Marie Weah, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, platform guests, members of the National Legislature here present, the Honorable Dean and members of the Cabinet, the Doyen and members of the diplomatic corps, members of the One UN system, religious leaders and our traditional fathers and mothers, civil society organizations, student groups, members of the press, and most importantly, the beautiful grandmothers, mothers, daughters of Mama Liberia. I'm filled with the great pleasure to welcome all of you and officially make remarks on the occasion commemorating the celebration of International Women's Day. Today is the day set aside globally to recognize and celebrate the achievements of all you beautiful women, regardless of political alignments, nationalities, economic disparities, cultural, lingual, or religious background. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's celebration is special, not only because we are renewing our commitment to the call for the voices of women to be heard and the rights to be respected. It is special because we are gathered during a time when our world is beginning to witness a slow but progressive decline in the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths. We know that in March of last year, the COVID-19 virus struck Liberia, and the result of this proved devastating to us all, just as it did to the rest of the world. Let us all continue to adhere to the basic COVID-19 preventative measures to ensure the safety of ourselves, our families, and our communities. We are already knowledgeable of the health protocols around Ebola. So let's also fortify ourselves against any happenstance in light of the fact that it has attacked our neighbors. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's celebration is being held under the global theme, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. Now we did a national theme that says breaking down barriers in a new dispensation of the COVID-19 world. Over the past year, we lost many of our brave, inspiring, and innovative women in leadership, including the late Montserrat County District Number 9 Representative Honorable Mona E. Pelham Youngblood and former Assistant Minister of Transport Honorable Noah Scott. In recognition of contributions made by them and countless others towards the elevation of the status of women in leadership in Liberia and to the general growth and development of our beloved nation, I ask you to kindly stand and observe a moment of silence.
And so the Minister of Gender was now asking for a minute of silence for
Your Excellency,
the loss of strong women
distinguished ladies
in
and
the
gentlemen,
Liberian society.
our gathering here today is a testimony of women's contributions and commitments towards the total quality of leadership being dispensed in Liberia and around the world. Even as we celebrate this day today, it is important to recognize that women are still essentially underrepresented in key areas of decision making. The challenges women here and around the world continue to face include unemployment, underrepresentation in business, politics, and other basic livelihood opportunities. It goes without saying that we also suffer discouraged of sexual and gender-based violence. As a key participant amongst women in leadership, I'm happy to serve under the leadership of a president who has fearlessly dubbed himself feminist in chief, thereby fully committing himself to alleviating the plight of women in Liberia. Thank you for all that you do, and especially for the light that is life and protection that you have already started in the country. Especially for the most recent $2 million you unveiled during the county tour for rural women and 16 million USD opportunity through the Ministry of Agriculture that female farmers can also take advantage of. And these are among so many other promises. These are among so many other promises made and promises kept. You are truly appreciated, Mr. President. Your Excellency, Madam VP, Madam First Lady, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the heightened awareness in the number of rape and other sexual and gender-based violence cases in the country during the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic brought to bear a way forward, which was the anti-SGBV roadmap. To that end, I believe that if we as a nation bind together to fight the scourge of rape and other forms of sexual and gender-based violence, we can lessen the perpetuation of these heinous crimes to make it impossible for women and girls and vulnerable people to thrive under this scourge and make it possible that they can thrive in a peaceful environment where we can all grow and prosper. On behalf of the women of Liberia, Mr. President, we would like to use this historic opportunity to express our profound appreciation to you, our biomed medicine. We want to express this in appreciation for placing women in key position of trust in this government and for leading government's effort in protecting the rights and dignity of women and girls. You are always here for us when we call you, and we appreciate that, and we know that with you, we'll be able to take great stand in this country. We look forward to the surprise you have for us today, and many more such surprises in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, rape is a heinous crime. It is a crime that should not be tolerated at any level of society. It will call for more drastic actions to be taken by the court system against perpetrators in order to restore our pride. The progress of Liberian women relies heavily upon the joint actions by all three branches of government, civil society, and each and every one of us in our homes, even as we have our partners here helping us along the way. And I urge all of us to continue to promote zero tolerance for crimes against women, girls, young people, and the vulnerable in our society. So you brave, intelligent, adorable, fantastic, spiritual, majestic women of Liberia, I honor you. I honor you. I salute your courage and resilience for braving the afflicting challenges which continue to erect multiple barriers between us and our rights to deserved spaces in society. I believe that in line with our national theme for the day celebration, there is going to be greater opportunities to enable us achieve an equal future, especially during this time when we are at war with COVID-19. This is a new dispensation where we can see women rise up, and we've already seen this. This entire fight was led by women in Liberia who were entrusted by His Excellency. So let us give that exemplary leadership a standing ovation, Dr. Jala, Madam Mary Broal, who are here, Madam Jala. Let's give a standing ovation. We want to say thank you so much for leading this fight, and we know that you did a good job because internationally, Liberia as a country under the leadership of His Excellency has been recognized as a lead fighter in COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much. As we call for the creation of more opportunities, especially employment opportunities for women and girls, and the removal of barriers, which continues to deprive other marginalized groups from investment opportunities, I must also say that we must seize our moment and jump to every available opportunity. We must stop being our worst critics. It is time that we move on and truly appreciate what is obtaining in today's dispensation and stop dwelling on what didn't work in the past. As African women, we continue to show our mettle to the world. We acknowledge our Liberian women in leadership who have made history and brought world stage attention to our country. And we appreciate the ones forging the present leadership pathway. Today, we have bold and strong African women proudly representing us. The likes of our own Antoinette Saye as Deputy Managing Director in the field where we have met at the International Monetary Fund. And we have Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala of Nigeria, who is fully representing us and taking our black suits to the world stage and in the boardrooms, where we are fully represented. And she's the head of the World Trade Organization. Our Excellency, to such a huge global force is a result of her hard work and dedication in the face of daunting challenges, and any of us can do that and more. The proof is in the pudding, we've done it before. We cannot always sit and believe that a system must work in our favor. In order to successfully achieve the equal future we aspire for, we must be in the position to compete with our male counterparts for every available opportunity. This year's celebration must be used as another clarion call to us all. It is for us to stop seeing ourselves as anything less and so much more. As African and Liberian women, limited education, lack of legal and political representation, gender-based violence, cultural and religious restrictions still remain our greatest challenges. I assure you that these barriers will never cease to exist as long as we continue to criticize ourselves and refuse to get involved in a positive way. It is time for us to rise up to the occasion and completely be in the space. It's time for us to rise up to the occasion and compete equally with the other gender. Finally, the fight against sexual and gender-based violence is real. The scourge manifests itself within our homes, our workplaces, our schools, our communities. We know that prevention is better than cure. But even as we fight to prevent LGBT crimes, we must all put our hands on deck to battle would-be perpetrators and ensure justice is served on behalf of survivors and victims to the alleged ones. As we advocate for survivors, let us keep pounding the pavement with outreach and awareness because that is important. Mind change is important. And moving to the communities for which we are advocating for to ensure we are holding hands with the ones who need support the most. It is my hope that in my lifetime, our lifetime, we will see the eradication of women being subjected to physical, sexual, financial, and other forms of abuse. As I close, I would like to appreciate the government and all of our partners for promoting the agenda of women. To my cabinet colleagues under the leadership of His Excellency, I say thank you so much because you all have banded together like the President said, this is one government, each one help one, and we are all doing this together. I call for more support to women programs and urge all women to begin to take action, now seizing our opportunities in order to achieve the equal future we crave for. We appreciate Her Excellency Ambassador Carl Marie Ria, our First Lady, and all of the work that she has done, all of she's you movement, and at the office of the First Lady. She has shown that she is the mother of the nation truly, and she is every single one of us as we are with her. Here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. I thank you.
That was the gender minister making an official welcome statement.
Gender protection, Honorable Willamette E. Sekitan. Since the days of old, women all over the world fought for human rights and justice. They saw silence as a way of being
And so
trampled
after
upon.
heard the
So these women stood up for a
reading
cause,
of a
and because of them, we
proclamation
are here today.
will be done by
God
Ms.
first,
Fifth Noah,
for women are the backbone of the
disabled
society
representative,
and the world at
Liberia
large.
Children's Representative
Having
Forum,
said that,
and
I'll
that will
now
be followed
invite to
by
the podium
experience
Ms.
sharing of
Fednoa
beneficiary of
for the
BRAC,
reading of the proclamation.
Liberia
She
Portrait
is
Gold
a member
Graduation,
of the
the
Liberia Children's
UPG
Representative Forum.
loan scheme
Fednoa,
program.
the reading of the proclamation.
And so Madam Fifth Noah will now walk to the podium to do the reading of the proclamation.
All protocols observed. Republic of Liberia, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Monrovia, Liberia. The proclamation by the President. Whereas in 1977, The General Assembly adopted Resolution 32 and 142 proclaiming the 8th day of March each year as International Women's Day to be observed by member states in accordance with their historical and national traditions. And whereas the day marks the, the struggle that women around the world have made to gain equality and equal rights, as well as to reflect on the change and progress that culminated in their international endeavors, as well as the government of the Republic of Liberia, cognizant of its obligation to, to ensure equal status for men and women in the society without discrimination, has ratified the Convention on the Elimination of Forms of Discrimination against Women, Equality and Equity through its national reconstruction and development programs, and as well as the women of Liberia will join their counterparts around the world to celebrate International Women's Day 2021. Honor the global team Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in COVID-19 World, and the national team Women in Leadership Breaking Down Barriers in the Dispensation of a COVID-19 World. Now, therefore, I, Dr. George Manewia, President of the Republic of Liberia, by virtue of the authority in me vested, do hereby declare and proclaim Monday, March 8, 2021 as International Women's Day to be observed throughout the territorial confines of the Republic as a working holiday. Furthermore, I do request the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, government agencies, civil service, society organizations, partners, and NGOs concerned to execute appropriate programs befitting the occasion. Giving honor my hand and seal of the Republic of Liberia in the city of Monrovia, country of Maserati, this 8th day of March in the year of our Lord 2021, and of the independence of the Republic, the 174, Dr. George Manen Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, of the President Ambassador D. Maxwell Sarkemia, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you.
And so that was a proclamation read by Adam Kuknoa, the representative of the Liberia Children's Representative Forum, disabled representative of the Liberia Children Representative Forum. She just read a proclamation on behalf of the President of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay? We are all proud of you. So, if you ask every male in here today, where do you stand with the fight for equality and women's rights? They will obviously say we support. But is that really the truth? They will say we support. So I just can't be sure, but today we are just re-echoing the call for all men, all boys to wholeheartedly support women's rights and equality. So it actually starts from the classroom, all right? That boy that says a girl cannot be the president of the first grade class. It also comes to the home. That man that says, I am the man in the room and whatever I say is final. And matter of fact, they are the weakest. And that man that says, I am the man, I'm the final, this is very weak, sorry to say. So, to all the men, we are calling on you to kind of give us your support, meaning the women of Liberia. So we go to our next item. We have experience sharing, and it will be done by a beneficiary from Bright Liberia Ultra Pro graduation. So while they are coming, I'd like to take this time to actually recognize the Women in Maritime Network, the Liberian chapter, Women Liberia, and I'd like to thank Madam Emma Metia Glasgow for all the support that she gave. Let's clap for them.
Um, Jack is pleased to be at the occasion today. We have been at International Women's Day celebration in Liberia, but this year we have come in a special way um, to allow some of the people that we have been working with, extremely poor households, to tell their story at this special occasion. Um, Today, I'm very pleased to present to this August body two of our women from Margaby County that will say their stories. You know, today as we celebrate International Women's Day, there are those women that are all the way down there that we may not be thinking about, but they have their stories also. They have stories to tell. They have achievements that they have made for their households, for their families. And today, I want to thank the Ministry of Gender for giving these women the opportunity to say their stories.
Happy International Women's Day to all. My name is Nicole Como. I'm 34 years of age. I have 3 children. I live in Rockington, Sinta Township, Mike County. I was small past of being a Bulatan in 2015. I started suffering with my children. We was in deep poverty. We used to beg friends and beg for help. My turning point reached in 2019 when I entered with right under the UPG program, Ultra Pro. The people first gave us food and money for the first 6 months to stay on our feet. Later, they made my shop, they gave me books, and they sent me for training to learn how to manage the business. With all the businesses are doing, God always taking care of us. The people start based loan and village saving to our area. I was also able to get in a village saving and group loan. With all the businesses I have, with all the training I received from brass staff, I know that I will never go back to that poor life. I was also able to pay my 2 bedroom house with shop attached to it. I'm well respected in my time. Some of my community people can come to me now for credit. and my friends. My dream is to become the biggest businesswoman in my time and make my children to get good education. Now, other women can come to me for advice and also teach them how to make a business. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to the gender ministry. I also want to tell the gospel school lottery, thank you for me and my friends then. Because we're really suffering, but now I can tell what thank you because I'm graduate now. I thank praise the Lord. Welcome to the program. I'm Teresa Chade from Request Home Road, Maidigi County. I'm 48 years old, single mother with 7 children, 5 girls, 2 boys. Life was not easy down there. Things were tough. I would go around people in the leg to ice them to pick coal for them before my children and myself can survive. Even the vegetable garden I had, they couldn't manage for my children and myself. So when I came in contact with Bra, 2018, by the grace of God, my life had changed. They went to work, they asked me which work did they do. I said, I can make business. And they pay my shop, the goods. They train me how to manage the business. 6 school months, they were giving me food staffing and health staffing. That I will use to send myself to hospital and my children. I should not touch the business until the business can grow to certain area for the children. I managed for the business and they came back again. They established a very saving loan which can enable me to save money for myself and save money for my business. Praise the Lord. And then after COVID-19 came, we were now moving here and there. We were under quarantine. So because of that, my business they went down. But after they came back, we divided the loan. I was able to buy additional goods and put it in my shop. As I speak in my shop, it's up to date. I'm now selling pig food around the community where I live, and other members of my group can come and buy pig food. I also buy pig that I raising from my shop money. I get my own pig. I also can point charcoal that can give me 250 bags or 300 bags. And now I get my vegetable garden that I can sit down now and pay men and women to work for me. And now I'm highly respected. People come to me for daily work. People come to me for credit. And when I credit, I hold little interest. And now my children are going to good school. All my children that now used to eat, we used to pay for bread. This time around, God attending for our good. So I tell Ontario Correction Program, thank you. I also tell our president and our vice president, thank you. Even the people that work with the government that align NGO to come in our country to help women, I tell them thank you. I tell Ministry of Gender, thank you. They visit us, they encourage us in our community. So before I take my seat, I want to help you to grab a travel graduation. This will not only be our community, but I want those candidates that they are not entered. I ask you them candidates to go there to help you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I see you get interest to you today. Your Christmas deal. You plan for yourself. They took money. You know why I was there, but then the testimony building church. You know where around here. They never know the testimony. What? Man, your school making it do? Now, other book program got to put include babies out before you get up beyond. Yeah, seriously. No, but you know something? Imagine you waking up on the 8th of March, the 8th morning. That thing, for example, Minister Samuel people wake up in the morning. Then he went getting ready for the program. Then she telling him, see, babe, I'm going for international women day. You will take care of the children and hospital. Imagine. If so, carefully in a bag away, one big t-shirt the rest, now learn how to t-shirt. Instructing minister, imagine. I'm talking to you, love you, eh? You're laughing. But anyway, let me welcome my own people then. Shortly, before we continue with the program, we'll get a long way to go. Hey, how ma? That's why. I'm not sure how. You say you alright. You say you alright. Yeah, that program go back out of you alright. So I welcome you. You from Ireland? What, America? Yeah, America. What? Harrier? Welcome to Ministry today of COVID-19 Women Leadership Program. Hope you're enjoying your stay. You're the new ambassador. Welcome to Liberia. I'll make sure my president will take good care of you along with firemen and air volunteers, okay? You from France? Where you from? To tell you, I'm gonna put you in the house. Where you from? Oh, from the UK. You welcome to like, I like UK.
For the time, I will now ask the president and all other platform guests to kindly come down and seated for our panel discussion. Protocol, you are needed.
And so the president, along with hosts of cabinet ministers and other platform guests, will now position themselves for a panel discussion. And,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. will now invite the panelists and the moderators to come on
And so a pre-panel discussion is going to be held on the stage or the podium, and it's going to be moderated by Madam Josephine Obodu of ECOWAS Radio, and then some of the panelists that are on the panel include Dr. Olemina Estella, Minister of Health of the Republic of Liberia, Chief Engineer Ruth Coco Collins, Acting Minister of Public Works, Madam
If you're one of the panelists,
Safor
please
Maigre,
come to the podium.
President and CEO of NOCAL, Madam Joyce L. Kilipo, she's the founder
Our
and executive
distinguished
director of the
guests,
Public Health Initiative
the
Liberia,
wearing of
Honorable Sadatu
nose
Reeves,
and mouth
Deputy
masks
IG for Administration of
is the
the
new
Liberia
norm.
National Police,
We wear it to protect ourselves,
Madam Melody Mezi
our
Keda,
families,
Head of Marketing
and
at
friends.
the United Bank for Africa.
The UN Women's program on leadership and participation are guided by a history of international commitments to women representation. Whilst the Beijing Platform for Action calls for removing barriers to equal participation, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Violence, Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, upholds women's rights to participation in public life. Whilst the African Union Chapter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, Article 9, calls for women's right of participation in the political and decision-making process. And ECOWAS 2008 Conflict Prevention Framework, commonly known as the ECPF, Component 10, entitled Women, Peace and Security, aims to facilitate the implementation of the provisions of UN Security Council Resolution 1325, relevant provisions of the 1993 ECOWAS Revised Treaty, in particular, Article 40, 42, and 43 of the ECOWAS Additional Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. These and many international instruments promote women's leadership. Whilst we celebrate women and their achievements in leadership, we cannot ignore the increased gender disparity the COVID-19 pandemic has caused. So we salute women serving as frontline workers and caregivers. Our topic for this discussion is on the national theme of International Women's Day 2021. It says women leadership, breaking down barriers in the dispensation of a COVID-19 world. Please note that our panelists are Liberians who represent different professional backgrounds. Each one will speak to their area of expertise giving a narrative of women in leadership and how they have managed or are still in the process to break down barriers in responding to COVID 19 for a more equitable recovery. At this point, I would like to ask our panelists to remain sitting, and each will take a minute to introduce themselves. Can someone help on the microphone, please? Thank you.
Good morning to all, and happy Women's Day to all the women. I am Dr. Wilhelmina Jala, Minister of Health, the head of the incident management system here for COVID-19.
Good morning to all. I'm Engineer Ruth Cooker Collins, Acting Minister in the Ministry of Public Works.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Safwa Megre. I'm the president of the National Oil Company of Liberia.
Good morning. I am Sir Dr. Louis May Reeves, the Deputy Inspector General for Administration of the Liberia National Police.
Good morning to all. My name is Joyce Yelkipo. I'm the Executive Director of Public Health Initiative Liberia, and I also represent civil society on the Global Fund Mechanism for Liberia.
Good morning. My name is Melody Minze Kenta. I've always been a journalist. I now work at UBA as the head of marketing and corporate communications. And I am Josephine Obodu, moderating this session. We're going to give each of our panelists 3 minutes to respond to the questions that we're about to ask. And we begin with Dr. Wilhelmina Jala, Minister of Health. Madam, what is your ministry doing with regards to programs aimed at stopping the reoccurrence and negative impact of COVID-19 in Liberia?
Right now, first of all, Madam Moderator, let me say thank you for a job well done so far. Managing COVID-19 is not only the ministry's responsibility. As I sit here and look into the audience, I see a lot of people that have no mask on, and you are in a public space. So if you have your mask with you, please put it on. Thank you. As long as you see the fight against COVID-19 as only the ministry, COVID-19 will never go away. We all have to join forces together. If we set protocols, it's up to the citizens to follow the protocols that we have set. So together, all of us, as the ministry move things forward, we hope that your bucket that you have put away comes back out, because washing hands is important, not only for COVID-19, but as I know that when you heard about Ebola all the way in Guinea, people began to panic. So please pull out your buckets, because all of these things help us all. And also social distancing. We have to continue to do those basic things that can help us get over this fight. So the Ministry of Health will continue to put out guidelines and protocols, but it's up to the citizens of Liberia to follow these protocols for the fight to end. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Minister. And she said it all. The fight is not for the Ministry of Health alone. It is a collective effort. And each and every one of us must play our part. If it means wearing our masks, it means washing our hands, it means keeping social distance, then so be it. But we must all fight, put our efforts together to end COVID-19. Thank God there's a vaccine, so there's hope, but we still need to follow the protocols, as the minister has stated. We go to our next panelist, Attorney Safume Ray, the President, CEO, National Oil, Company of Liberia, local. Madam, in terms of your social corporate responsibility, what initiative has your agency to curb the spread and the impact of COVID-19 on the vulnerable population, particularly women, girls, and children who are always the victims? Thank you. So prior to 2016, we had a lot of oil companies in Nigeria. And once we have oil companies here, we have a lot of corporate social responsibilities coming in. So prior to that, local used to do a lot with different groups to enable them to have access to the corporate social responsibilities, corporate social welfare fund coming in. Because that is for the people of Nigeria. But when we took over, most of the companies have left. We have our empty bases. But fortunately for us, we have one company that is our data broker, and also the trauma one. Initially, we decided to do the ICU, but to get to the space that was designated for the ICU, we needed to pass through the trauma. And walking through there, we were like, can we just add this also? So we did that. To date, we have been, we did the first phase, which was the renovation and rehabilitation of a morning ICU and a trauma ward. And then we proceeded to also put equipment in there that will be beneficial to us all. As we are aware, during COVID-19, there was a lot of need for ventilators and heart monitors. So those equipments were already on our list to have it in there. So in an instance where we have a need for those things in the midst of COVID, it will be available to you. But in doing the trauma ward, and people laugh and say, they're doing the trauma for local people, but the Nigerians too. So, but we separated it. We ensured that we had a space for females or more than that, we put down on the bed, we have access to. We also separated the space for children to ensure that these people are separated and have access to good quality of health care. Um, and this idea came about like around 2016, and we were already giving it by then. So I had an opportunity to meet with President Yap on an issue where he was told to go and intervene on the funeral matter. And talking to him, he was like, if certain things were here, that person might be alive today. So when I took over, I thought, what is not here? What is needed? Anyone of us can be flown out of Liberia, but if you're in a critical position, you need to be stabilized. And we looked at that and said we need to find somewhere that we can at least stabilize people, for people to fly up. For us to go people, the ICU would be there for us to utilize, but we needed somewhere to stabilize people so that even if the flu or alien here, that person have a safe place to go.
In summary, NOPAL is providing healthcare as their social corporate responsibility. And we say thank you for that because health is wealth. We move on to our next panelist, Melody Ketor, Head Marketing and Operation Communication at the UBA. Melody, amidst the COVID-19, how supportive has the banking sector been, especially UBA, in terms of increasing women's economic empowerment? We all know that COVID had its own toll on the state.
I'm proud to announce that in March of 2020, UBA, through the UBA Foundation, donated food were distributed based on the severity of COVID by then. So bigger countries that had bigger problems received a certain portion, and Liberia received that amount. I hope that will answer the question why Liberia got 150,000 out of 40 million. So after all of what happened during the COVID, we also have a plan for post-COVID because we know very well that this is definitely going to go away. We're not going to have COVID forever. So what is UBA doing to help businesses post-COVID? Currently, we are working with the Tony Ilomilu Foundation. It's the largest and the biggest private philanthropy organization. It is founded by Mr. Tony Ilomilu, who is the founder and chairperson of UBA Group. And the Tony Ilomilu Foundation every year calls for application for 254 African countries. And that application is the Tony Ilomilu Entrepreneurship Program. The program the program trains, mentor, and provides a seed capital of up to 5,000 US dollars for small businesses all across Africa. We are proud to announce that about 60 Liberians have benefited since 2015. And this year, fortunately, the application drive is still opened. I have been all around Monrovia and its environs. Just the weekend I was in Kanta, encouraging people to apply for this. The seed capital is given to small businesses to help support your business to take it from very small to SME that is of the standard that fits not just in Liberia, but fits across the African continent. This year, fortunately, there is a partnership with the European Union, with the Netoni Lumelu Foundation, to have additional 2,500 women across the continent, including to the already 1,000 that is accepted every year. Good thing about it, that portion is only for women. So these days when I'm on the application drive, I tell women this is an opportunity for every small business to begin to push up. We all know that the COVID is a big disruptor and it just did not affect the bigger businesses. Small businesses were affected. And sorry for that, most small businesses are owned by women. During the COVID period, these women had to leave their work, they had to leave their businesses they were operating at various centers to stay home and take care of children who had to stay home because schools were closed. This is a push up from UBA and this is a push up from the Tony Lumelu Foundation. I'm hoping this year over 100 Liberians will get accepted into the program. And my goal, and the goal of the MD, who is a woman now, is to ensure women stand a bigger portion of this number that is being out throughout the Tony Lulu Foundation this year. So thank you very much. So far, pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID, there is a plan at UBA. I just have a follow-up question. As to how people who are interested in the application can reach you. So then you go to www, and I'm hoping there are a lot of small business owners here. Please, this is the opportunity. Go to www.te fconnect.net. The application process is simple, but just in case you still cannot go through it, we are having a lot of info sessions to, especially for women, because we want women to benefit from this. So please, check at any of the UBA branches in Liberia or the simplest way is to check out our social media page and you get all of the information for those information sessions. We're working with the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I'd like to also commend them. The Youth Connect program under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they have been very supportive. They make their conference hall available and they mobilize young people to come for this program. Thank you very much, Ministry of Youth and Sports, to the government of Nigeria. I want to say thank you to UBA through you, madam. Our next panelist is Ruth Collins, Minister of Public Works. I think you deserve more applause. Because they come and you know. Thank you. Madam Minister, the COVID must say thank you to the Millennium Challenge Compact of Liberia and the government of Liberia. We have settled a gender inclusion unit at the Ministry of Public Works that take care of all women-related issues. Office. What again we have decided to do is women engineers. They are Liberian, and they have worked so hard to produce so many engineers, and they are out there looking for somewhere to work. So what we have done is that is a history. We have promoted the first female resident engineer for County, Madam Tina Cooper, who is now the resident engineer for Masalada County. And we have already identified areas in other sector within the ministry where female can be a part. Not leaving out our assistant minister too for operations, she's also a female. So what we have done to encourage them is that we create a platform, we create opportunity like we have a one-on-one conversation position is a great motivation for all of the female engineers around the world and even in Liberia. We stand with them as mentor, especially the students. We stand with them as mentor wherever the need arises. We talk to them personally. We invite them. We have forum where we can relate to them. And we also work closely with our HR. Those works that are done are fully done. So thank you so much.
So men and women, in terms of the gear that they wear, do you consider that women
Feet on our helmet, we have to be fully prepared because you never know. Any danger comes along the field, you get harmed. So that does not, change the fact because we are women, we cannot be the same. So I think basically you see most of the time you will see us fully attired in men's wears, where you see all in our jeans trousers, our boots, our vests, to show that whatever men can do, we can do it too.
we now move over to our next panelist, Joyce L. Klibo, founder and executive director, Public Health Initiative, Liberia. Madam, what are some of the efforts made by your institution to create a safe space for economic impact on women?
Thank you. I want to take this time to say Happy International Women's Day to all of you awesome and phenomenal Liberian women sitting in this room. I come from an organization, a local organization called Public Health Initiative Liberia that was funded out of the need to see Liberians taking ownership and leadership within the health sector. That was funded like 7 years ago. And it was funded right before Ebola. And the fact that Ebola came and the impact Ebola had, the lesson learned from Ebola equipped us even better to be able to better prepared and respond to COVID-19 when COVID-19 hit our sword or the sub-region. Public health initiative like we have a motto that says empowering communities to save lives. So whatever we do, community is at the center of it. And at the center of that community is women. I always tell people my traditional name, my name that was given to me is Leka, meaning house of women. So whatever I do is surrounded around women. For some reason, women just gravitate towards me. So with COVID-19, what did we do? Prior to COVID-19, we have been working with communities and we work with women groups on a program we run currently with Open Society Initiative for West Africa called OSIWA, and it's basically about nurturing family, nurturing communities to be able to strive at their very best. So what we do, we work with women leaders to identify formal
and informal women leaders at the community level. And in identifying these women, we provide leadership skills to them. There's no healthy society without a healthy woman. So we believe that as caregivers, women as caregivers, should be having the right information to be able to apply at the right time and at the right place. So with COVID-19, before COVID-19 hit, we already have women that were prepared, that have already been trained on community preparedness in terms of outbreak response. So with COVID-19, we just activated those community groups. And what we did, most of these women are petty traders. With COVID-19, the lockdown protocols that started at first, things were very difficult with them. So we negotiated with our donors, and they allowed us to give them seed funds to be able to support their families in the while COVID was ongoing because they couldn't do their businesses. And apart from giving them seed funds, we've also provided food rice. We distributed over 150 bags of rice to women-headed household and caregivers of children that are under 5, breastfeeding mothers, and that of pregnant women. So these were things that we're able to do for women during COVID, and I continue to do it. And apart from that, because these women meet on a regular basis once a month, some meet twice a month. We have what we call Mothers Club. They meet to discuss things surrounding women issue, the health of their children, and so forth. So what we have done with them, apart from because it's one thing to give a man a fish, it's another thing to teach him how to fish. So we have it as much as we are a health organization, we have linked them to agripreneurship, whereby all of these, we have 45 women groups right now that have their own farms, they are producing Gary and the likes of it. Apart from that, we also have with this meeting of safe space that we are creating for them. Each one of them identify a place in their community that can be built for a child learning center because we noticed that each of these women, when they came for the women club meetings, they had their kids with them and the kids were just all around and couldn't do anything. So what we have done, we have established what we call community-based early child center, and in those centers, the women, instead of taking their kids to school, to the farm, they now have place to keep their kids in the community. And apart from them just keeping their kids there, they are learning. So this is something that even with COVID, we continue to make sure that it still exists. And what we did was to reduce the time of the children in the center. Instead of from 8 in the morning to 3, we reduced it from 8 to 12. And instead of 5 days a week, they were reduced to 3 days a week. So basically, these are some of the things we are doing to keep women together, safe, even in the midst of COVID, to protect the
So the Public Health Initiative Liberia is empowering communities to save lives. They are also nurturing communities to strive and want best. We move on to our last panelist. She is Sadatu Reeves, Deputy IG for Administration, Liberia National Police. Madam, during the lockdown again and the state of emergency, there were reports that there was an increase in sexual and gender-based violence, domestic violence, and some other crimes. To what extent has the Liberian National Police been in terms of preventing and responding adequately to sexual gender-based violence?
First of all, I'd like to say thanks to God that I'm present here. I am a recovering of COVID-19 from a meeting where I have two of my colleagues that lost their life. May their souls rest in peace. I want to express my appreciation of every one of you who prayed with me during that time. Having a lady and all of her children confined at the 40 Military Hospital was not an easy thing. I had all of our children, including my babies. And I just want to say thanks for what I'm sitting here today because it means nothing to you. We all know that the Nigerian National Police primary responsibility is to ensure public peace and security. The police is made up of five executive members, which includes the Inspector General and four Deputy Inspector Generals. One who's responsible for crime services, Honorable Prince Morgan, where he supervised the women and children section. Majority of the time we complain that, oh, we have no budgetary allocations, but I must commend the women and children protection service. For thinking outside the box. They've always gone outside the box and they've done something better for us. They have been engaged in massive awareness. Now we know now that the community have been aware, so we find out there are more reports on sexual and gender-based violence cases. And we ask him that to continue to spread the word. Because not only the police who can off to the ambassador of Sudan, they have been very supportive. That I have successful prosecution. So we can now simply say that none of the cases that we have lingering at the police station, there's a common understanding now with the Justice Ministry and that of the police, and then we are able to proceed with the processing of those kinds of cases.
Well, thank you, madam, for the efforts.
Please go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting. There has been massive awareness with the section. Though we have one or two of those awareness programs sponsored by donuts, but the government has done a lot to a larger extent. And I want to say thanks to His Excellency and also to Honorable Samuel Twin. I know I'm one of the crazy persons who's always there and they need to do something. They have purchased 15 vehicles for the joint security. And out of those 15 vehicles, I'm sure the Inspector General is going to give to the Women and Children section to be able to have a quick response to cases, because that is one of the difficulties we've been having when the nation has been mandated by the president. I want to say thanks, Mr. President, because based on the mandate, the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Health, and that of the Nigerian National Police and Justice have been able to work together, coordinate, so we can have easy access to justice. And that is really working. Another thing that has come up with the whole issue of the sexual and gender-based task force is the combination of the gender section of the Nigerian National Police and that of the women and children sections. We look at the scenario of that from Sierra Leone, where they have the Congress of Accountability, and we see that that's working. But what has happened with us, we have the bureaucratic chain that's so long and we need to cut it. So now we're working on it. That has been instructed by the Justice Minister to work with the Policy Management Board of the Nigerian National Police to come up with a project that will combine the gender section and women and children and make them one chain where you leave the women and children, and you have to go to 105 before the Inspector General's office. And then before you can think if you have to go through all of those chains, something might happen. So that is something that we're working on. And I just want to encourage every one of us. Let's continue to fight. This is for a cause. A lot of women, even sitting under the sound of my voice, suffer domestic violence, and they are not able to come out to say it. It's not like you stand up. They're always about to worry. You have the children. You never know what will happen. You have to stand for yourself, stand tall. We are women. What men can do, we can do it equally or even more. I see one of my students sitting here that I'm always proud of, Patty. And sometimes people see me, I ask me, Sanatu, can you really fire a weapon? And I say, try me. Try me. And I would challenge any EPS person here because most of them are students. So women is a word for me to use today. Happy International Women's Day. Stand up, stand tall.
And so that's Honorable Sidatu Reef, the Deputy IG for Administration at the Liberia National Police.
You know, the issue about SGBV is a long one. And like she said, until we speak about it, until we start settling it the family way, until we are brave enough to go and report to the police, it will still be a violation that many women will have to endure. So in her words, speak about it, continue the advocacy until there is an end to SGBV. And I also want to thank His Excellency the President for taking initiative to organize the first national conference on SGBV. I've learned that recommendations from that conference will be followed and then implementations and all of that. So we take the last round of questioning, and it's going to be a general question, and each of our panelists will be given 1 minute to respond. Please highlight the challenges you have faced in your various institutions and what you think you could suggest as the most robust strategy to break down barriers and give access to women in decision making. Repeat the question. Highlight the challenges you face in your various institutions. That's the part A of it. The part B is what could you suggest as the most robust strategy to break down barriers and give access to women in decision making? Whoever has the microphone can start.
First of all, let me say we only have 1 minute. I want to say thank you to all the healthcare workers in Liberia for a job well done. Challenges that you face in ministries is a lot of interference from other ministries and other members of society in terms of trying to influence what decisions you have to make. So in order to overcome some of those barriers, sometimes you have to stand tough. You have to be able to say, look, first of all, you have to listen, and then you listen to what they want you to do, then you do what you want to do. Sometimes you have to do that. Because if you don't do that, you will be confused and you won't know what to do next. We have a lot of women in the ministry, not that many in leadership, and a few that need to be promoted. So we have to stand up and say, look, we don't have a woman in this position. men have been ruling this whole group for a long time. Yes, a qualified woman, please promote her so that we can see her leadership start. So this is what we do all day to beat that challenge. In terms of the counties, we have a lot of men as county health officers. We are trying to put women in those positions. Women's Day to all women being here. We also
And
to say thank you to all our female engineers
the
that took
Minister
the
of
time
Public
to come
Works,
too.
Acting Minister
So
of
let me
Public Works,
say
will also respond to the same question.
we, for the Foreign Works Ministry, some of our challenge is many, but I'll just name a few of them. We have the challenge where men want to seize the engineering as though it's for them. So whether you are a female and you want to take your actions, you want to regulate things, they look at it differently because they feel engineering was made for men. So that's our challenge, and we are trying in our own weak way in our stream to see how best we can stay with as those men that have no mindset. So we also want to say our recommendation is to all the women, we need to be supportive of each other. Let us try to build ourselves. Let build ourselves. Let that look at a female be in a position and say, no, she's not the one supposed to be there. It's supposed to be men. Let's support one another in every capacity. Thank you. Some of my challenges. So in oil and gas, at my level, especially in Africa, there are mostly older male occupying this position. So when I took over the first 2 years, and we go to international meetings, and most times they will give my vice president seat. They'll have him come sit first before me. Then he got to show say, "Oh, that's my boss." But I have the audacity, and I'm extremely opinionated, and I know my space, so I take it. So my issue that I see things fast are gradually going away. Because when I get there, I say, no, I am the boss, and he's the VP, so he sits behind, I'm here. So they have gotten used to my face and seeing me in those spaces, but those were some of my challenges in the beginning. And she talked about the strategy to have more women in leadership positions. The strategy is simple. The strategy is us. We need to support each other. We have to hold together because if we do that, there'll be a lot of strong women around here. 2 years ago, most of all the women when we were nominated, and that had a lot of women shying away from presidential and front positions because not a lot of women will be able to go through what we went through. But we stood tall, and like I said, I'm extremely opinionated, and I have the ambassadors. And most of these women that were appointed by the president also have ambassadors. So we need to stick together and be supportive. And also, women who are given these positions, women who are in decision-making position, we need to be an example. So in an instance where there are openings, the president will look and say, I need to have a female in there because my females in government are doing extremely well. Or females in decision-making positions are doing extremely well. So the strategy is simple, the strategy is us.
And that was Madam Safwa Megre, the President and CEO of Snooker, discussing some of the challenges she's faced with as a female.
So the first thing I have to manage my
And
own stress
Madam Sadatu
and
Idris
work
will
away
also
on
respond to
my
the
own
same
stress
question.
rate before I start working on others. But in time, we noticed that women in the Nigerian National Police were lagging behind for so many reasons. So we developed some projects that took them back to school. We have the accelerated learning program where we have females just in ninth grade, go through that program and later enrolled within the Liberian National Police. And trust me, to date, some of them have started
Some of them first degree BSc, and gradually they are growing up and taking on strategic position. So I'm confident that you're confident that is going to come a time where I will have a lot of women who are really recommend and say, oh, this person can replace me at any time. When it comes to the generation, I think women problems are women. Let's take it from the men. Men are egoistic. They always want to show ego. Men never leaves his friend. He supports his friend. How many of us have joined the first lady to support all of our programs? How many? How many of us have joined the gender minister to help in the advocacy? But rather, when you go to the chat room, you see we have politicized everything. It is about time that we stop, support the government, work to one common goal, ensure that women needs are met and promoted. It does not have to be me all of the time. When it's not me, it should be the other person. We should embrace that mindset. That is carrying us nowhere but lifting us backwards. And we always use the term, but we don't even understand forward ever, backwards never. But everything I see is backward ever. So we need to change our strategy. Focus on women initiative programs. Support these women that support us. And also the men that support us.
That was the Deputy
Thank you,
Inspector General for
Professor.
Administration at the Liberia National
I
Police,
came
speaking on
into
challenges
leadership.
faced by women.
I came into leadership at a fairly young age, and my age and me being a woman had a lot of impact on whether I have a seat at the table. So my challenge has been being treated equally as my male counterpart that sit in similar position as executive director. But like Safwa said, I'm highly opinionated and I know how to find my voice. So what I've done over time, even if it is something that concerns the work that I do and I'm not invited and I'm in the know of it, I take my seat and put it on that table. So I learned to bring my seat at the table. If you don't give me a seat, I take my seat with me. And that may come just easily. It comes with me building my own self-confidence, and I think that's what is self-esteem, knowing who you are, trusting your ability, and in trusting your ability, meaning you should be informed of what you want, how you want it, where you want it, and at what time do you want it, and how you argue it. So that has helped me a lot, and I've learned to build alliances along the way. I try to, when I enter a room, I try to identify people that align with what I'm talking, that give me a note, that give me a thumbs up, and after that, I try to get to know you beyond that, and that has helped me a lot in my work that I do and how I access funding or opportunity. And I hope that us women, sometimes you may not like the person, but it's in that most of you have similar interests, and that's the strength that most men have. They forget about personal things and they look at the interest. Do I want a woman to be in this position? That woman doesn't have to be me. The fact that it's going to be a representation of a woman, I can support her. And I think once we all learn, I struggle with it. I can't lie to you that I didn't struggle with that. But I had to come to a place that if I'm going to be about myself, we will not be able to achieve the women's agenda. And the challenge is up to you. We all choose to challenge. What is it that you are challenging today as a different? Is it self-pity? Challenge yourself to say to yourself, I'm a woman, I can do it, and I choose to challenge myself to this position. Challenge is to each and every one of us here and to our allies, the men, the women that stand with us in the fight towards gender equity. As Dr. Erwin, God bless.
After all of these brilliant closing remarks, I'm even scared. Okay, challenges I have faced. If you know me, you will know I'm the one who is doing the challenging. If you know me very well, you will know definitely that Melody is not someone to joke with. So I have come, I've been a journalist for about 15 years, and the journalism space in Liberia, you know, is still dominated. Fortunately for me, unfortunately for them, I don't have a story as somebody stepping on me in the newsroom. No, I don't tolerate that from anyone. I respect all of the people I work with in return to respect me. But the fact that it never happened to me doesn't mean it doesn't happen to other female journalists. There are other women who they're being stepped on in the newsroom. There are other women that are given easy assignments because they feel that they are women and they're beautiful and they should be going to gender ministry programs alone and they should not be going to the executive mansion to cover the presidency. Today, I've left the journalism active field, but today, Denise Nixon stands at the head of at the executive mansion as the head of the Reporters Association at the executive mansion. That is something that some people paved the way for. People were there before me. I came and we spoke on it, and today it is happening. Please do not allow anyone to take your space from you. It doesn't belong to them. Do not allow them to take it from you. No one did it to me. Don't do it to somebody else. Currently, where I work, I'm so proud to be one of the youngest, but I'm so happy also that people will come to me and say, hey, Melody, what do you think about this? It is an honor, and I'm happy for that. Take your space wherever you go. There is one thing we always need to carry with us as women is confidence. Take your confidence with you. Step in the room as if to say it's your one that you're saying. You're not saying anybody else. I'm not saying a male. I'm not saying a female. I'm saying one person who has a goal, and that person is Melody. When you get there, don't forget your sisters. They need you also. So we can face those challenges. In terms of what could be the most robust strategy, I always like to say education. I tell my children as a mother, I tell those that I'm mentoring, I said there are two things that took me out of poverty. The first person is God, the second person is education. That is the only strategy that we as women can progress with. We can sit here and give all of the nice speeches and call for equity, we want parity, we want this, we want that, but we need to go there with a prepared mind. If we are not educated, we cannot walk side by side. We'll always be behind or we'll always be the wings. I'm not a woman wing person. I'm somebody to walk side by side with. So please, we need to educate ourselves. Don't get it wrong. Education is not being certificated with the highest degree. It's not going to the highest institution of learning. You heard two testimonies from our sisters earlier on. It is a form of education that you already have. We are fortunately some of us to go to college, get degrees. Everybody cannot go to college and get degrees. But let's support other people to get training in soap making, to get training in tie dyeing. What have you done as a woman to impact the small community you live in? There are some young girls who need to be impacted. Some of them, when you see them in the street, all you need to do is say, good morning. Where is your parent? And where your mom? Where your pa? That simple question you're asking that girl could be saving her from getting raped later on during that day. She may be having some missteps, but I think that is what we women should do too. Let's stop some of the complaining and let's work on the little that we have to make an impact, not just for our one. Before I close, I wrote this and I want to say it. Please allow me to. Before COVID, there was a normal that placed me in the position to struggle for equality at all levels. I want to use the opportunity to call on the government and other development partners to ensure that the new normal after COVID does not feel like that anymore. Equality for us is not about giving up your power in terms of certain gender or your authority. For us, it is us asking for equal pay, equal opportunities, equal access. It is about us making laws that will enable women have more seats at the legislature to represent our views and our aspirations. It is about us. It is about being compassionate towards us and aware of those unique issues that we women face because there are certain things that are just unique to we women. You will never understand it because you will never experience it. Allow us to be aware of it. Allow us to handle those things the way we women know how to. Now we are no longer asking. We are no longer waiting for you to hand those things down to us. We are coming prepared. We are coming with education, and we are coming with taking. Happy International Women's Day, everybody.
We are coming by force to take what rightly belongs to us. We're not going to sit in the back and say, it's a man's word. Women have a right as well to equal participation at all levels. On that note, we want to say thank you to our panelists in the presence of Ruth Collins, Minister of Public Works, Dr. Olamina Ja, Minister of Jala Rada, Minister Safia May Gray, President, CEO, National Oil Company of Nigeria, Joyce L. Clipper, Founder and Executive Director, Public Health Initiative Nigeria, Melody Kettle, Head Marketing and Corporation Communications at the UPA, and Honorable Sanatu Reeves, Deputy IG for Administration, Nigerian. Our discussion focused on the topic, the National Team for International Women's Day 2021. Women in leadership, breaking down barriers in the dispensation of a COVID-19 world. Once more, please give a round of applause.
Okay, my job is very brief. Keep hearing about nose mask. They want you to cover your nose as well as your mouth. So let me step this way and take off my mask for a second. Take off your mask, and if you put it on, there's a point right here that is the hard part. I see a lot of people put it upside down. The part that's firm supposed to be holding your nose, so you put your nose mask up. You're not supposed to touch it. But I can't talk well with holding a mic and all. You're supposed to make sure it's over your nose, cover your ears, both ears, and then squeeze it over your nose so that it's holding you firm. So if you don't have it, make sure that it's holding you firm. I know some people don't have the type of mask that have this, they have cloth masks, but the most important thing is to cover your nose as well as your mouth. Thank you.
Would like to invite back on the stage His Excellency the President and all platform guests for the continuation. Thank you.
Too much pain.
Today we are honored to have with us our feminist in chief, our very own, who from day one have pledged his support to the women of Liberia for this. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we remain most grateful. Shall we give him a round of applause? To our First Lady, we cannot overemphasize the level of support you've given to the women of Liberia. It's evident by your presence here today. On behalf of the women of Liberia, I do extend our thanks and appreciation. Our father wants to help you. To our strong and ever potent Vice President, we salute you for the work you do. You are a virtuous woman, and God bless you. So I also like to recognize the Society of Women Engineers. Please stand for us, please. Our former Minister of Gender, Madam Julia Duncan Cassell. Our One UN family, the Embassy of Sweden, European Union, all other members of the diplomatic corps.
Okay. With me, put your hand together for yourself. We need, you all know what we mean to know you're improving? Because a few times you all know how to see. When you taste the food that can come from in the kitchen, you can know that you're improving. The panelists were talking about challenges. I think you'll get challenged in the kitchen. You'll clap for yourself. When you know something, and let the way, we the men will feel that you're putting that coffee for you. But now they get men cook into ourselves, we can cook. So if for all of us, send away you're moving for dinner, you're cleaning your right, I'm happy for you. Yeah. And he spoke about the way forward. What we can suggest, make my suggestion for you in it. Where you cook our money. Wedding, you can see we agree with that one. But you need to add more pepper. You need to add pepper. The pepper that coming from in the kitchen, if you soup, they're not pepperish. Not pepper, you know when you eat that cool pan potato with the kiss me. This time you can cook it yourself. Why? Eh? Because wedding, he was supposed to ask me on that panel that I thought you were coming to do. But I thought, hello? Okay, you guess what? You know, my heart happy. Yeah. Since the president appointed me as Minister Popo, you're winner. Since the president appointed me as Minister Popo at the Ministry of Stupid Affairs, you're listening, you will also need to catch my heart. All the benefit that's all will come to me. Minister Twesty wouldn't impact your hello? But right, as a minister, I also have office. Allah? Thank you. See the message agree with me. As a minister, I also get staff. And my staff will not be plenty. I just employ quantity. Your Marco, Georgia Butini, we not plenty. Minister, you ain't there for us. We just sell. But he gave me office. He won't recognize my staff. I want anything back for Kenny. So, Mr. Minister, will take you, please. Take all the information, Mr. Rennie. Please carry in the news. I'm going to Minister Foreign Affairs. Hello. Yeah, please add it here. Yeah, my ministry, they need to recognize it. Yeah, thank you. But we you know something? I will tell you today. I like you and I get one suggestion for you. You know we're breaking problem between we and you. Eh? We the men of Liberia and you're the women of Liberia. You know we're breaking the problem between us. Now one simple thing. If you can get work one day, we'll get peace for everyone. You want to know the thing? I will tell you it. You decide you have meeting along with the general minister. Other women there. You decide one hairstyle. Only one hairstyle. When you're use for 30 years, you're not teaching. You just be carrying that hairstyle. Oh, you just be carrying it. Because in local, the children school fee will get small. Some family get 5 children, some children get 10 children. And you pay all the children school fee. Then every 3 weeks, you want to change your hair. Why you can be handless of all that? Hello? Today that we meet, you see what happened on the panel discussion just now? People are having a percent of them coming to gender program. I'm first time to see women they serious expressing themselves, discussing the future of Liberia. I was discussing it. See me? And all our women they know who are sorry for. Eh? And it's a Archie. Yeah, we're not easy to be police. Oh. We're not easy to be police. That will get wet. That will get wet. One time I was living with this, our own Justice Street Hill. I won't come up because we're coming down. The cold they were inside that team loaded. Now I won't go back home. The car was coming down the hill. I had the police inspector for traffic on the road and they still were there. The car was coming down the hill. I had the man look at the police concentration. He realized that kind of co-op was not only in the city. Oh. And the man quarter reading that police law, the man still on the road. And the man say, "Park!" You see that? Then I remember, I said, "Oh, my brother police, we are doing well, they're not spoiling the government resources. If our place like America see American police arresting, where with Joe Biden just take over, you looking for money, they I remember getting Joe Biden and you put you. Yeah, guess what? And why don't you know president? We are getting money, you know, Lisa. Hello. Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, I will pick up my dose, man. I will pick up, you know, over to do no math video with my phone video, huh? Let me tell you that I was super. So the American police, you see the car, the people put gas in your car, they give you that, and the sorry can be lost power on the sorry, and the car they can run by the broad police car. Yeah. So you see criminal, for you to chase the criminal, catch the criminal, then you stand. The criminal wait down, the American police, the man wait down and say, pull over, step out of your vehicle, please. Anything you say is gonna be used against you, then they call the law. Put your hand on the dashboard. Then they pull it through all hour before they go. What if they don't like bro, do that one, they will run away. So our police they can jump. They may already know it cannot get speed. So by the time that man saw that Kobe coming out of that car pickup, he said, "Back!" The job put it on, I get break. He said, "I said back." I get break. He said, "I said back." I said, "Look, I beat my chest out there." I said, "Yes, I'm proud of that Broad police and they're working in the interest of the country." Thank you. And right now, we have interlude of music, and we're going to be calling two of Liberia finest artists for a musical performance and impressing of Butterfly and Nigga Z. Dr. C, rather. Please put your hands together for them quickly.
Butterfly coming.
They're about to do a song with message. Keep clapping for them as they come, please.
Butterfly is a Liberian artist, and she's being accompanied by another artist, Dr. C. They will do a brief musical performance
1, 2, mic check.
with a song
Put your hands
entitled
together for
Stop the
yourself,
Race.
ladies. Put your hands together for yourself. First of all, I must tell the Almighty God, thank you for bringing us safety to the wonderful and great program. And then I also love to say, long our beloved president, the president that made me to see my hometown, see I was born. I celebrate history. Butterfly, talk to your people so we can get it going.
Women, oh, women. Women, oh, women. I said that butterfly, oh, let's stop fouling against women and children. I swear not to. So let's love and respect our women in Liberia. Big respect to our president, Dr. George Manawia. I want to say thank you to all for coming here today. So enjoy yourself.
Yeah, DJ, get busy.
Please stop the rape to all the minute. I catch you trying to take strong and read the future for the next generation. Where did I come from, nation? Stop the violence and hate more. I get you want to bring up in your blood or your mother. So stop the rape. General ministry stop the rape. The ambassador said, stop the rape. And what I don't say, stop the rape. So gotta see what you gotta see. She could be a head on a dollar sister. And I be ready for you to do your feet off. Now be taking it for in the nigga that's up. It was started on trade. And I got a benefit. It was started on trade. And I got a Think about your sister, she's a bad little boy, you still won't come to all the stress and peace, you very true. That was nobody can show me when I'm speaking the truth. So all they want a minute, they want to do, take their advice, whenever you are proud. Beat you hard, take it all, I wanna try it. I'm only a kid to me, we gotta stop it. It was funny one day. Maybe I can look at it. Why is trying to see it? It was funny one day. Maybe I can look at it. Why is trying to see it?
And that was a musical performance by Butterfly and Dr. C. Uh, the last rip song, rip
As women of
awareness song.
Liberia, we must stand up for ourselves. If we cannot do it, nobody else will do for us. And we can only get the desired support that we need if we hold together. If you hold one woman down, you hold all the women down. Let's gravitate with that tendency, okay? And because we are all unique in our own way, we come to the table with different talents and different strengths. And the moment you respect your fellow woman for that, together we can make it better. We should also know our rights and values. As a woman, when you stand for something, the people around you, especially our male counterparts, will understand that times have changed. No longer you say you stay home to cook. Because in the morning when you're getting ready, I too am getting ready and we're going together. So if God has blessed us to a certain extent, we will have somebody do the cooking. All right? So times have changed and we women, we know our rights and the strategy is in our hands. We have to support each other. Having said that, we'll now move on to the seventh item on our program and we'll take remarks. We'll begin with the Honorable Rosanna Shack. She's the chairperson on the Senate Committee on Gender, the House of Representatives, and she's a member of the Women Legislative Caucus. Honorable Shack. Let's clap for her.
And so the Women's Legislative Caucus representative, she's the chairperson, that's Honorable Rosanna Shah, will make a brief remark.
Excellency,
She's the chairperson on gender
George Manuria,
at
President
the
of the
Liberia
Republic of Liberia,
Legislature.
Her Excellency Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Her Excellency Madam Claude Manuria, our dynamic First Lady, members of the legislature, the judiciary, the cabinet, the diplomatic corps, development partners in the United Nations in Liberia, civil society organizations, our security forces, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. Happy International Women's Day to all of us women of Liberia. In line with the global theme this year, Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in the COVID-19 World, Liberia stands to have 7 counties represented in the legislature by women. The balance 8 counties of our 15 counties still need to put forth women to be in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. 3 females in the legislature and the entire House Committee on Gender, Children, and Social Protection take a pledge, and this pledge is we choose to challenge. We pledge to lobby with our male counterparts to make laws and review existing laws that create an enabling environment for equal opportunity for women to participate and to compete for leadership positions at all levels, especially in the legislature. Our second pledge is we pledge to challenge that we promote women's economic empowerment across Liberia, leaving no one behind. I want to thank our President Dr. George Manuria, for placing women's economic empowerment on with a sum of $2 million for enhancing the strength of our market women across Liberia. COVID-19 affected all of us, and women bear the brunt of supporting the livelihood of our families and our communities. As you informed us recently, Mr. President, that road connectivity across Liberia is going to be a priority. We thank you for that as well, because we experienced the bad road condition that people in the southeastern part of Liberia face. And I'm sure he's going to see it when he goes to the north and the western parts of the country. Number 3, we pledge to ensure that we work with all sectors to protect women and children and men as well, because sometimes women are aggressive too on our men when it comes to domestic violence. But we pledge that all forms of violence are stopped and that we provide much needed safe spaces for survivors to receive medical care, psychosocial support and rehabilitation, legal redress, and reintegration. We are exceptionally happy to hear that the long-awaited DNA testing will be done in Liberia, and very soon. We thank you again, Mr. President, and the donor community for making this happen for us, so that legal redress of rape cases can now be done with scientific evidence. 4, we want to also pledge and we choose the challenge to ensure that our people living with disability, the elderly, and other vulnerable groups are prioritized in our gender-responsive planning and budgeting, so that they too get benefit from the development agenda of the country. As an issue right now that's on our plates and very hot, we are talking about the youth who are using drugs and abusing substances. There's a bill on the floor, and we have a joint committee working on this right now. So how can we be able to address the drug addiction problem? It's going to be very expensive, but a stitch in time saves 9. Let's work together as one people to change the dismal picture we have now. To a picture of Liberia.
All existing protocols. I'm very pleased to represent Oxfam today. I don't know if I'm representing all INGOs, but I would like to stand here today and choose to challenge some of the negative stereotypes about women's leadership. Some of you know me, know I've been an ally to women of Liberia for a long time, and in working in our programs on women's leadership, on ending violence against women, we've come to see that there's a widespread denial by people in public and by people in power, a denial of the very real historical, material, and institutional barriers to women's leadership. Instead, they blame women themselves. We heard it here today. We have to stop blaming women for the oppression of women. We have to recognize that when we stand up and say, oh, but nobody's stopping the women, that's not true. It's not true. There are educational barriers, economic barriers, social and cultural barriers
psychological barriers. There are even physical barriers, cases where men and other powerful people are quite literally stopping women. They're stopping them from attending community meetings, stopping them from joining political associations and political parties. And as we've seen in the recent election, they are quite literally stopping them from campaigning. Violence against women in elections is perpetrated to stop women from competing. It sends the message that women, politics that not for you, politics that not your area. To overcome all these barriers, it's imperative that temporary special measures, such as mandatory political party quotas, must be enacted. Women's representation in the national legislature has fallen from a high in 2006 of 16% to 14% in 2011, 12% in 2014, 11% in 2017, to less than 10% in 2020. My people, we're going in the wrong direction. So now it's imperative for democratic deepening in Liberia and for finding sustainable solutions to complex development problems that Liberia faces today. Liberian women can lead, and they can lead differently. Liberian women have broken barriers at the highest levels. Now is the time to take bold action for women to lead at all. Thank you.
That was the conflict director of Oxfam speaking on behalf of international
Thank you very
NGOs.
much for that nice Liberian English, yeah. Next is Liberia National Rural Women Sector to be represented by my Kevin Bongo, President.
Your Honor, my President, Mr. John Manewia, and my first daughter, the first day, and other second daughter, the vice president, I honor all the she invited my invite, and of all my women of Liberia today, I'm so glad to be here to stand on this women here today. You know the talk about the platform we're talking about women leadership. Some of us do more that are working Liberia for women. But we are not being counted as we say, load down each other. We can load down each other, sometimes it can be our own self. In the COVID-19, women being leadership, you have to be creative by yourself. You have to have vision for your own leadership. You don't just sit around and look at the people, but you are the role model of the people. They are looking at you, everything you do, the women will follow you. So you have to be strong to do the right thing. When the COVID-19 came in, I just said I wrote president in Nigeria. I said, well, what to call my leadership women group are after 77,100 people in the whole 15 countries. I said, well, I have to know my correct number I have. I don't know, but they want to contact you with me. I said, I want data in this country for my women. And they did it for me. That how much to know all my country. And in the leadership, I tell my leaders, I'm making agita for the 15 countries to know my leadership that will be identified with anybody that wants to be. And when I start making a request from myself, they say, COVID-19 will not have to get it. We all want to manage. I will need to eat. First, I said, let me get this so easy. When we start making a process, so when I be together with my bees, it have 30%, I'm going to go 15, 15, or 5 for each other. First, I tell the media I want on EABC here. I call the media, I say, my client get money, you can me send message to my women in the 15 countries. I say, my people, all the year in the 15 countries, you please let my women to go to listen to create awareness. Let them watch our hand. Let them go far away from one another. Even in a place, they will know the tech that they're not going to meeting, tech that 15 will go first, and pay the other people, another go finish 15 will go again. And the women went by it. The farm was successful in grant room. They say COVID-19 2020, I went there to see the farm. When the women that they did it, and look, I can't take it. I know the poor 150 women together to work. But then 150 women who get 10 acres of farm, I think the ambassador wanted to be there, see, with the UN women. And they saw the front of women that are working, but they cannot go in group for COVID-19. I was got to protect ourselves, what you very much for the honor you give. You know this I should tell them, but I say I be born, I mean leadership. I don't want to see it. Once somebody drink food, you want to take. I want people. That women are being a rural area with interest leaking us. But it's walking and teach our life and so they really thank you. I bless you for that. Thank you very much. Because those people that they think about me, because this I will empower women. Because we're talking about culture is money. Oh, in the budget. We'll be all the whole money material. So they don't every day with some president will be busy. Because now members of them for their conscious right. Please do that for your mother, then come here, your mother. That one will love your bro, will love you. My minister, I salute you. Because you stand by all, you start right now, everybody that you know, but you stand by all my I respect you. Thank you very much for your support for the bro. Y'all thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. Next remark will be, hello, the program is still ongoing, please. Next will be Civil Society, it will be represented by Loretta Popokai, chairperson. Chair.
So, a representative of the civil society group will now
1
make a
minute,
brief
please.
remark. Next will be followed by international partners, starting with the United Nations, ECOWAS, the World Bank, the Swedish Embassy, the Irish Embassy in Liberia, the Chinese Embassy, and the American Embassy.
Here celebrating International Women's Day, under the theme I choose to challenge. And now I choose to challenge the barriers in women leadership. Amazing women, the strength of consciousness of the society. Please accept my warmest greetings as Liberia and the Global Village celebrate International Women's Day. Today, we are to celebrate the achievements of women, raise awareness about women's equality, lobby for accelerated gender parity, and fundraise for women-focused support in order to challenge the barriers to women's leadership. In this call, I want to recognize all women for and on behalf of the National Civil Society Council of Liberia for your courage, fortitude, and commitments in ensuring peace, harmony, equality, and integration of all citizens, irrespective of political, traditional, and social indifferences. Bravo to you, mothers. Bravo to you, sisters. It is fundamental and moral obligation of the Council to signal out the limited and unfriendly space created for women's political participation. If we are to choose to challenge the barriers in women leadership, we must speak to the few issues. Now, we call on the National Election Commission to provide information to the public. There's a lot of silence on why is the delay in certificating voter candidates. The delay is infringing on her rights, and we must hear from the National Election Commission. If we must choose the challenge, women must be represented. We had 20 women who were eligible out of the 118 candidates. Election Commission. Next, we need to hear from you. We call on the government through the Ministry of Justice, Internal Affairs, to separate our sacred tradition from political processes. We witnessed that in Babalu, where you had a country devil coming outside to instill fear into our women. We use this manner to condemn that act, and we say stay away from political processes. We need a level, unrestricted, and secure political environment must be created and sustained for all Liberians. This is a constitutional and fundamental right entitled to all citizens. We also want to use this time to call on the 54 legislature to support the proposed electoral reform bill submitted by the National Election Commission seeking concurrence on an amendment of Section 4.5B and C to institute an enforceable 30% gender quota on candidate listings and the leadership of political parties and coalitions. The National Civil Society Council will continue to follow the electoral law reform process. We again recall the commitment made by His Excellency Dr. George Wanawia to ensure gender balance in political life and the PAPD's stated objective to increase political participation of women. We thank the President for his commitment as we can see increased women leadership. I also want to use this time to remind the Deputy Speaker of his commitment to support the gender parity bill. This rights and dignity of women is not subject for renegotiation. If we must choose to challenge, we must be consistent and very determined. Women, you are strong. Believe in yourselves. Stand up for each other. Never allow the intolerant nature of the society to break your courage. I love you all. The National Civil Society Council is open to work with you for and by you. Happy International Women's Day.
Would like to run through something quickly, so I'll call my co-MC to handle that. For our partner just now, they're imagining me going for cabinet meeting alone with other ministers. Small moment will be here. No, we can take this.
All right, so all of us with the official program, you will kindly turn to the back. We have other activities in commemoration of IWD 2021. So we've already had the radio talk show, and currently we are here at the indoor program. Next will be the official launch of the ECOWAS 50 Million Women Speak platform, and this will be a virtual launch. It's to be hosted on Thursday, March 11 at 10 a.m. The Zoom meeting ID is here, but it will also be circulated via email. We will also have our Bright Liberia Ultra Pro graduation program in Kakata. There will also be a training workshop on menstrual hygiene and sexual protection and awareness. We will have also high school students debate. And last but not the least, prison visits to be identified with inmates. Having said that, we now move on to still on remarks. We invite our international partners, beginning we call the One UN family to give us remarks. One UN.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Manneh, and the First Lady, Ambassador Claire Mary Duncan Way, Your Excellencies, the Vice President of Liberia, Dr. honourable members of Parliament, Honourable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Honourable Willie Meta, Sadie Tar, other Cabinet members here present, Your Honours, Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, partners representing the UN, dear colleagues, dear friends, the media, colleagues online, and I hope that is this. International Women's Day celebrates the tremendous efforts made by women and girls around the world in shaping a more equal future and recovery from COVID-19. The national theme for Liberia presents an opportunity that we have today to reflect on the progress we've made, on the call for change, where necessary, to break down the barriers and uphold the leadership of women, which has been discussed today so eloquently by so many partners. The pandemic has taught us that leadership diversity makes a difference. The involvement of women was instrumental to the success of Liberia in response to COVID-19 here. In Liberia, the fight against COVID-19 was led by Dr. Joe, Minister of Health, and Ms. Mary Breaux, National Coordinator. The task force was led by women. And under their leadership, Liberia managed to control the virus and is one of the very few countries that has less at the moment than 50 deaths. Every death is a tragedy, but the number of deaths from the virus that broke out early last year in Liberia is far lower than elsewhere. We commend the government of Liberia for appointing female leaders to coordinate and lead the national response, but also for having a standalone pillar that focused on women, children, and girls in the response mechanism. And this pillar was led by another female leader, the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Honourable William Meta Sadie Tar. We applaud the President of Liberia for having confidence in female leadership and continuing to champion gender equality. Through these results, we can confidently conclude that when more women are in decision-making positions, more inclusive decisions are made, different voices are heard, and workable solutions are created. In Liberia, however, while we celebrate the achievements of female leadership, in COVID-19, as elsewhere, we are aware that significant challenges remain to us. Liberia ranks 151 out of 193 countries in female representation in parliament. We've been discussing throughout different fora the 30% quota, which was evoked earlier on a number of occasions, for quite some time. But there is now an opportunity to move ahead and to make sure that women will be involved at the sufficient level in peace building, conflict resolution, and decisions which affect not only them, not only the communities, but everybody within Liberia. On violence against women, the need to eliminate violence against women and girls, yes, the government of Liberia has moved ahead. There are initiatives that are supported by various members of the international community. Nonetheless, sexual violence remains widespread. 77% of women and girls have been victims of some form of sexual violence. Gender-based violence continues to occur at rates which are far too high. We hope that various measures, such as the implementation of the 1325 Second National Action Plan, the endorsement, which was endorsed by Cabinet in November last year, or 2019, the passage of the Domestic Violence Act, and the new election laws in process will address some of the challenges encountered by women and girls. It's pretty simple. We cannot achieve sustainable development without gender equality and women empowerment. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we're at a pivotal moment in women's rights. This has been crystal clear from interventions that we have heard today. On one side, we have women's empowerment at the heart of the agendas that we work so hard to push. And on the other hand, we have the decisions that we need to take to ensure that those agendas are actually implemented. May I conclude, Mr. President, Excellencies, by commending the efforts of the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the civil society, women's movements for working tirelessly under your leadership towards achieving the level of gender equality that we now have. But let it be known, let it be realized, and let it be our challenge that gaps still remain. As we commemorate International Women's Day today, we call upon the government of Liberia and all other stakeholders to ensure equal participation of women in politics and decision making. And in this effort, I would like to reiterate the United Nations commitment to continue promoting gender equality and women's rights. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. Next is ECOWAS. Please observe time. 1 minute, please.
The ECOWAS representative will make a brief remarks. Earlier was the UN representative.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to extend greetings and best wishes on behalf of the Office of the Special Representative of the President of ECOWAS in Liberia. It is pleasing for me to give this brief remark on this very important occasion as we celebrate yet another International Women's Day. The occasion is important, timely, and relevant as it enables us to give honor to all women while reflecting on the works of exceptional women who have made indelible footprints in our sub-region, particularly in Liberia through their determination, resilience, and perseverance in sustaining the peace and stability of this country. It is in recognition of the greatness of Liberian women that I am honored to seize this equally great opportunity to convey to our dear women of Liberia the warm greetings of the chair of the authority of ECOWAS Head of State and the government and people of the West Africa, and as well as the president of the ECOWAS Commission on this unique and auspicious occasion commemorating International Women's Day. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's global theme, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World, as well as the national theme, Women in Leadership, Breaking the Barriers in the Dispensation of the COVID-19 World, is unique and appropriate for the situation that we find ourselves in globally and as a nation. Specifically, the theme is germane to the prevailing challenges women face worldwide due to the devastating COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the ensuing harsh economic realities and numerous reported cases of gender-based violence which have accompanied it. Despite the numerous challenges faced by women globally, the world has witnessed how women have been resilient, demonstrating numerous willpower to prevail during difficult situations, while at the same time pushing for greater representation in all spheres of society. Women leadership and clear action in this regard have always been exceptional, and we have countless examples of this even right here in our country, Liberia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me say here that ECOWAS is aware and concerned of the numerous barriers that limit women participation, which is why the organization has accelerated its efforts through concrete instruments and mechanisms, such as the Supplementary Act on Equality of Rights between Women and Men for Sustainable Development in the ECOWAS region. This protocol was adopted at the 47th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Conference of Head of States and Government as far back as 2015. Our Gender Center in Dakar has been the forerunner promoting gender equality and empowerment in the sub-region, and especially in Liberia through our different collaborations with the government of Liberia and other countries. One of such collaborations is the upcoming launch of the 50th Millennium Women Speak platform, which is scheduled to hold on 11 March 2021. I'm sorry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to seize this opportunity to congratulate Madam Igusi Oguchu Iguala for her exceptional exemplary leadership role, which has culminated into her being the first Black African in West Africa to hold a position of head of the World Trade Organization. This fight was not without the exceptional backing and consistent push from African women, local and international, to seal that position. And so, we are also aware of the role played by some influential Liberian women in making this to happen, which needs to be noted as significant for Liberia. I would like to therefore use this opportunity to recognize and commend the African women for their solidarity and for being resilient when and where it matters. In closing, I would like for us all to take this time in this new dispensation to reflect on the road ahead, the significant role women can play in this dispensation, even right here in Liberia, and what it will mean for the world globally to understand that what is needed is for both men and women to combine their energy, accommodate each other fairly, and realize that there are unique potentials on both sides that can be used for the common good of all. On this note, I would like to wish all women within our sub-region and Liberia in particular, the world a happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. To be followed by World Bank. Any representative from World Bank? If not, we move on to the Swedish embassy.
Your Excellency, Feminist in Chief, President George Manenberg, allow me to stay on the established protocol. May I quote Minister Piso? Magnificent, majestic, fantastic, resilient, hardworking, great Liberian women. I salute you. I will stay on message. You know what I want to say. I say the same thing every 8th March. I represent the feminist foreign policy. It's based on the 3 R's: representation, rights, and resources. And the 4th is, of course, reality. So, a few words about these. Mr. President, ensure that women have a seat at the table. Members of the House, adopt the law. I don't need to dwell on the details, you already heard them. Mr. President, protect the rights and the security of women. You've done a fantastic job on STBB. We salute you for the National Conference and for the action plan, and we will continue to support its implementation. It is truly important for the women in your country. And under that heading, may I also remind the House to adopt the revised public health law. It is super important for the critical health needs for adolescents and young people. And you can, through working with family planning, prove that the single most important intervention that you can do in this country to reduce maternal mortality, which is too high, by almost 25%, is to adopt some of those proposals. Resources, Mr. President. Ensure women and girls have the ability to stand on their own 2 feet. Gender equality is not just a woman's issue, it's a developmental issue, and it's strategic for your country. I know you have grasped this by calling yourself feminist in chief, and we recognize that, but there is much more to be done. It's a vast agenda. The passage of the Land Rights Act was really important. Continued work on women's economic empowerment that's going on in particular through women, through the rural women and through other actors is equally important. Mr. President, don't forget the young people, especially the young women. Don't discount them. Bring them in. They're not prepared to tolerate injustice, and we've seen that in their manifestations on the streets these last years. They represent the future, and with them and through them you can realize the implementation of the PAPD. I hope you heard me, Minister Tuea. And finally, we're in this together. You men, you boys, you brothers, husbands, lovers, great guys, you are the allies in this. Change will not happen unless you engage. Women cannot change this agenda alone, and it's for the good of both men and women. We're in this together, and the time to act is now. I thank you, and I wish you a fantastic
Thank you. Next is the Irish Empire.
Excellency, please allow me to stand on existing protocol. Very happy International Women's Day to everybody here, and it's a great pleasure to join you here in celebrating this momentous occasion. Gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls is a key priority for Ireland's foreign policy. It's one of the fundamental aspects of achieving our overarching foreign policy goal of a more equal, peaceful, and sustainable world. And gender equality and equal rights for women and girls is central to that. We recognise that gender equality is both a fundamental human right and a necessary condition for sustainable global development and to ensure that no one is left behind. Our approach is informed by our own national journey and the political and social transformation relating to gender equality that has occurred and continues to take place in Ireland. At the UN Security Council, Ireland will maintain a strong focus on gender equality, including today hosting a meeting on women, peace and security under the theme Call to Lead by Example, ensuring the full, equal and meaningful participation of women in UN-led peace processes. In the COVID pandemic scenario, we have seen that it has disproportionately impacted women and girls in a number of ways, including adverse effects, as we know, on health, education, livelihoods, food security and nutrition, and as we've seen here in Liberia, increased exposure to gender-based violence. The pandemic has shone a stark light on the underlying structural inequalities that affect women and girls in all of our societies. And here in Liberia, Ireland's 5-year strategy recognises the importance of the role of women in peace and security. And we have a strong focus on tackling the issues of prevention and response to sexual and gender-based violence and on the increased participation of women in inclusive democratic processes at local and national level. During lockdown for COVID-19, as was pointed out in the panels earlier on, there were increases in the reporting on sexual and gender-based violence and on specifically domestic violence. In August, there were street demonstrations leading to the national conference that we've spoken of, the declaration of rape as a national emergency, and a 2-year roadmap to tackle sexual and gender-based violence. And we want to walk that road with you, and we want to make progress on this. So while COVID-19 has increased the burden of sexual and gender-based violence for the most vulnerable, it has also shone a spotlight on these issues. And Ireland will continue to provide support for tackling SGBV, both in terms of improving response and services, but also in terms of prevention, which is the real long-term challenge, as was reflected earlier by our Minister of Gender. Ireland is also supporting women's increased participation in democratic processes and looks forward to close cooperation with the government of Liberia. As we reflect on the barriers to participation by women in the recent midterm senatorial elections, we look forward to working to support women to engage in the electoral process over the coming years leading up to elections in the future. In Ireland, in our experience, we put in place an electoral act in 2012. And this electoral act introduced gender quotas for national politics. And the quotas were to increase incrementally from 30% to 40%. And what did we see as a result of this? We have seen our parties. The number is not where it needs to be, but it has helped us to make progress. So today, on International Women's Day, I would just like to end with a quote from our first female president in Ireland, Mary Robinson, who said, "I was elected by the women of Ireland, who instead of rocking the cradle, rocked the boat." On that note, I wish you all a very happy International Women's
At this point in time, we'd like to invite a representation from the European Union.
And so the EU representative will now make a brief remark.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia, Madame the First Lady of Liberia, all protocol observed. Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America, all men, all superheroes. But today, we celebrate another kind of superhero, the superheroine, women in leadership. Yes, women in leadership must be superheroines because they must have superpowers to overcome the challenges and the obstacles and the villains that the immense majority of them have faced before attaining positions of leadership. And leadership comes everywhere. Leadership at home, to have a say on family matters, on financial issues, on the decisions that pave the way and the life of a family. Decisions that most often men, husbands, partners take alone. Leadership in the community, to express and to promote and to defend the specific interests that women have in the management of common affairs, be it at the level of the village, the town, or any organization of society. Leadership in business, because entrepreneurship is not only a male quality, because earning a living is not a male-only endeavor, and because leading a workforce and promoting money-making ideas and dealing with clients and suppliers and banks and the taxpayer is not a male-only responsibility. Leadership in politics, where the challenges and the obstacles are probably the toughest, and where male domination is probably the hardest to change, as we see here in Liberia, with the issues of gender quotas in parliament, and we have seen all over the world with, on a global scale, only 22 women in ministerial and parliamentary positions for every 100 men. Superheroines you must be, ladies. In the room, in leadership positions. With your own superpowers, the power to go through education as little girls and women, and to nurture and express the human qualities and skills that make leadership. The power to say no to abuse and to reject demands for private favors that so many women face on their path. The power to survive when the abuse has happened. The power to combine work and family and everyday life and relationship and sleep, and to still find the time for yourself in weeks that only have 7 days. Superheroines you are indeed, and we salute you today here in Liberia and all over the world. Thank you.
First Lady, we all protocols observed. Happy International Women's Day. Achieving gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls is a global agenda and an important part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Governments of all countries should take effective measures to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women, protect women's human rights, and achieve the all-round development of women. At present, while COVID-19 continues to ravage the world, women are facing greater challenges. The international community should take active actions to prevent women's economic progress achieved over the past few decades from being lost. Ladies and gentlemen, China has a female population of 685 million, and they account for 1/5 of the world's female population. Equality between men and women is China's basic national policy. China has established a comprehensive legal system that includes more than 100 laws and regulations to protect women's rights and interests. Women account for more than 40% of all employees in our society. And China is also listed by the World Health Organization as one of the 10 countries with high performance in maternal and child health. On October 1st, 2020, President Xi Jinping delivered a speech via video link at the UN General Assembly's high-level meeting to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the World Conference on Women held in Beijing, and put forward 4 propositions, namely, to help women get rid of the impact of the COVID pandemic, to implement gender equality, to promote women to be at the forefront of the times, and to strengthen global cooperation in women's causes. China also proposes to hold another global women's summit in 2025 to contribute to the development of women's undertaking in the post-pandemic era. Ladies and gentlemen, we laud all the achievements scored by Liberia under the strong leadership of President Weah. Congratulations. And China is ready to continue to work with all countries, including Liberia, to actively implement the Beijing Declaration and a program of action, and strengthen international cooperation in the development of global women's causes. Thank you.
Thank you very
That
much.
was the
And finally,
Chinese
very much, the
ambassador.
American ambassador.
So good.
A woman with a degree in engineering. There is perhaps no greater impediment, to achieving gender equity than the deeply rooted cultural norms and practices that favor the education of men and boys over the education of girls and women. The facts and figures tell us what we stand to gain when we give women and girls equal access to education. A child born to a literate mother is 50% more likely to reach his or her 5th birthday. Women with some education enjoy increased agricultural productivity and income than their uneducated counterparts, and they are less likely to be victims of sexual and gender-based violence. The conclusion to be drawn here is obvious. Education is a powerful game changer for women and girls. It is an indispensable tool for their social, economic, and political empowerment. It is key to ending the scourge of intergenerational poverty. This is why the United States Development Assistance to Liberia attaches special importance to educating women and girls. Our current emphasis is on increasing access to education for out-of-school children and adolescent girls between the ages of 8 and 15, providing them safe learning environments where they can acquire basic literacy and numeracy skills and ultimately transition to formal schooling. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the world has come a long way since the first International Women's Day was celebrated exactly 120 years ago today. Over those 120 years, the annual celebration of this day has served to remind us of certain undeniable truths. Respect for women's rights should not and does not come at the expense of men's rights. Everyone, including men and boys, have a role to play in the fight for gender equity. And achieving gender balance means more than simply expressing ideas about equal treatment of people under the law. It is also about how communities and societies and countries can prosper and benefit by fully tapping the energy, the talents, and the abilities of all their people, women, girls, boys, and men. As we celebrate International Women's Day today, let us therefore recommit ourselves to doing all we can to give Liberian women and girls equal access to the rights and privileges enjoyed by men and boys. To unlock doors to opportunities that have been shut to them for so long, and to draw on their immense abilities and resources so that they are active players in Liberia's journey to self-reliance. And rest assured that as we work together to do so, you can count on the continued support of the United States. Thank you very much.
That was the
For the presentation, President and the Vice President. Ms. Axe, as the presentation begins.
Please lower the light, please. Control.
And the presentation is being done here by from the office of the First Lady, showcasing how she's you program.
The advancement of women and girls in every aspect of life is the top priority for Excellency Ambassador Carl William, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia. Hence, the She's flagship program endeavors to realize various needs, including outreaching for the better and prosperous Liberia. Since its official launch in 2019, this youth initiative has transformed hundreds of lives, inspiring and inviting all of women and girls across Liberia to become leaders of their community. Key to women and girls empowerment is massive awareness and sensitization activities especially against them, ensure the promotion and protection of their human rights and the availability of equal opportunities. This continues to be at the center of Nigeria's advocacy. Whether locally or internationally, the First Lady never backs subject in calling for an end to all forms of sexual gender-based violence including rape. Instead of us galvanizing our effort on mitigating the pandemic, we are here to find solution to another crisis, rape. The word rape pricks my heart as a mother and a female. There is no excuse for rape. All sexual gender-based violence are inhumane and unacceptable. I urge all of us here to double our efforts for the issues that confront women and girls, though seemingly monumental, yet can be tackled with great success when we blend our voices together in one accord. Women must not allow their space, life, and destiny to be defined by others. We must see the empowerment of women as a crucial aspect of healthy and prosperous societies, and where possible, advance legislation to build a bridge to eliminate the gap that currently exists with respect to gender disparity. Matrix Media also stands out in helping to empower women and girls at various levels of society. Among many of our empowerment interventions are the facilitation of a month-long training for 30 Liberian girls in China recently. I want to thank the president very deeply. What she has nominated for is very, very much. So I want to thank you on behalf of myself and my family. The essence is to enable them use their hands with the technical skills acquired to make their lives better. She's also providing several scholarships to young Liberian ladies and young men who are pursuing their secondary, undergraduate degree, and other levels of education. Liberian First Lady is also partnering with Net Foundation in various ways, including the training of Liberian doctors and medical practitioners to effectively address infertility, diabetes, and cancer, among other non-communicable diseases affecting women. In addition to that, Mrs. Weir has also constructed a modern vocational training center for the Underwriters Association of Liberia. That facility will help to mold the minds and train the hands of hundreds of young ladies in the barracks and in the community in Marquis County. The First Lady, our mother of the nation, is a humanitarian whose purpose in life is to bless as many people as God has blessed her. This mentality and love for Liberians drive her passion to impact the lives of the underprivileged. She cares for the orphans by providing adequate food and other supplies and also improving their environment. She also provides monthly feeding to the elderly and to the disabled. Over 100,000 packages of rice, oil, beans, milk, sugar, and milk others have already been handed out to our elderly people and disabled persons. Mrs. Ria has also constructed homes for several extremely poor people. During the height of the COVID-19 epidemic in our country, the First Lady stood with the government of Liberia in reaching out to our people with assorted food, sanitary materials, and other medical supplies, as well as providing awareness messages and protective gears. As the world over celebrates women's achievements today on International Women's Day 2021, the First Lady expresses profound gratitude to women in Liberia and across the world.
I love you guys, and I can say it with an open eyes. I love you guys, and I hope that we can work together to make Liberia great.
The First Lady thanks all women for their immense contributions to the growth and development of our country, Liberia, and the rest of the world. Her Excellency, the First Lady, joins women around the world on the theme Choose to Challenge in calling for more efforts to end gender-based violence and promote gender equality.
That was a brief presentation from the Office of the First Lady of the Republic of Liberia. Madam Claire Marie, yeah.
That was a special presentation by the Office of the First Lady on some of the programs of education.
I think we can put our hands together again. So much we invite our platform guests back on stage as we prepare for the special remarks of His Excellency.
Shortly is a special
Please have your seats. Madam First Lady, Madam Vice President, the Honorable Chair on Executive,
So shortly,
the
the
Honorable
President of the
Chair
Republic of
of
Liberia will
Gender,
be making
and
remarks
members
here.
of the 54th Legislature, Mr. Dean and members of the Cabinet, the Doyen and members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representatives of international organizations present, other government officials, the civil society organizations, traditional leaders, student groups, women of Liberia, our distinguished invited guests, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to introduce and invite for special remarks our feminist in chief and president of the Women of Liberia, Dr. Dawn. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you. Have a seat. distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me for a minute of silence. Madam Claude Marie Lecontier, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Joel Awatila, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, members of the 54th legislature here present, the Dean and members of the Cabinet, the joint and members of the Diplomatic Corps, other officials of government here present, our international partners, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me borrow from Isu. He said in a quote, he said, women are brave, intelligent, adorable, fantastic, spiritual, majestic. So I just want to add another one, fabulous. Fabulous. I'm pleased and honored to be here today to join the rest of the world in the constellations of International Women's Day 2021, which I am informed has been organized in Liberia under the auspices of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and in collaboration with the Office of the First Lady of Liberia, Ambassador Claude Marie Lecontier, as well as our international partners and the women of Liberia. As we are aware, International Women's Day is an annual event held on March 8th to celebrate women's accomplishments, recognize the rights and power of women, and give them prominence they deserve across nations. This day also gives us the opportunity to celebrate women who have made history, who continue to champions, to be the champions of change and inspiration for future generations. This year, it is being observed on the global theme, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in the COVID-19 world. And on the national theme, Women in Leadership, Breaking Down Barriers in the Dispensation of the COVID-19 world. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a country, we remain thankful and appreciative to our women for their resilience and commitment in their various tasks and duties as leaders in both public and private spaces and even in their homes. As a government, we acknowledge that women continue to need empowerment and that we have a responsibility to institute and implement all measures, policies that will promote such empowerment and at the same time ensure the safety of our women, girls, and children who are mostly marginalized. As Commander-in-Chief of Liberia, I will continue to exert all efforts to directly address the challenges faced by women of Liberia. As A.D. Anderson, the Australian activist, has said, and I quote, feminism isn't about making women stronger. Women are already strong. It is about changing the way the world perceives that strength. Unquote. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in a time of pandemic, in any given society, women and children who are more vulnerable tend to face multiple crises, and Liberia is no exception. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, women and girls in Liberia experience unprecedented increase in violence, ranging from sexual violence, domestic violence, and other harmful practices. During the imposition of health and safety measures by the health authorities to try and contain the virus, such as lockdowns, the closure of schools, the family home, which we assume should be safe, was no longer a safe place for women and children, as they were locked down with their perpetrators. It became an epidemic within the epidemic. This higher incidence of sexual and gender-based violence was intolerable and unacceptable to my government. Under the leadership of our Minister of Health, Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, both females, together with other key cabinet ministers, meetings were held last year to find a more robust and effective way of tackling this menace. As you may recall, I then established an anti-sexual and gender-based violence task force and hosted a conference on sexual and gender-based violence aimed at highlighting the national roadmap on rape and other forms of sexual and gender-based violence. The work of the task force led to the development of the government of Liberia Department Anti-Sexual Gender-Based Violence Roadmap 2020-2022. The roadmap was subsequently endorsed by the cabinet, and implementation is currently ongoing. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it was determined that one of the measures to tackle the scourge of rape was the acquisition of the DNA testing machine. This was because the lack of definite way to establish proof of the crime of rape allow a lot of perpetrators to go free. Hence, honor my declaration of rape as a national emergency. The Minister of Finance was mandated to provide funding for the immediate purchase of the DNA machine. Today, I'm happy to announce that the DNA testing machine is now in Liberia. Criminals investigation in Liberia on sexual and gender-based violence have relied solely on victims' complaints, medical examination, leaving cases to be determined and adjudicated based on circumstantial evidence today. However, we begin our journey to revolutionize rape investigation. This technology will have a positive impact on the way rape cases are investigated in Liberia. In the meantime, I want to encourage our medical practitioners to handle this equipment with care in order to provide intended and requisite services to the people of Liberia, particularly to our women, girls, and children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, government would like to express our gratitude to all of our NGOs, international partners, for the support they have provided in assisting us with the promotion of women's rights, empowerment, and the protection of our vulnerable women, girls, and children. We believe that all women are equally important and deserve equal opportunities. Without women, the world would never be what it is today. Continue to be united and strong. As former British, long live the women of Liberia, long live the women of the world. Happy International Women's Day.
That's the President of the Republic of Liberia speaking here at the celebration of International Women's Day here at the Ministerial Complex.
You would like to, the president will now proceed to invite us to
So President Weah is about to unveil brand new DNA machine. He will be accompanied by the chief medical. And he will be accompanied by the Dr. Wilhelmina Jala.
Let's just join His Excellency as he unveils and dedicates this. Okay, just come up and on stage. Join His Excellency the President. Let's put our hands together. Let's put our hands together. Let's continue to clap. I think
The
this is
President of the
historic.
Republic of Liberia has just unveiled a brand new DNA machine here at the official celebration of the International Women's Day in the Grand Theater of the Ministerial Complex. As you can see, the machine is being unveiled along with First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, the Gender Minister, and His Excellency Dr. George Manuel, President of the Republic of Liberia.
I was just told that when Dr. Jala opens it at JFK, it will be also displayed for the press to take photographs. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
And so that was the official unveiling of a brand new DNA machine.
Next on our agenda, we have special performance, and it will be done by Leo Bright.
And so Leo Bright, aka Native, is about to do a brief performance, to a musical performance. And if you know, Native is a Liberian artist, a Liberian musician, popularly known for his hit song Story. He's trying to make his way on the stage. Okay, there he comes.
First, let me take the time to recognize the president for the energy out here on this day. And also to the beautiful women that are singing out here. Sheila, wow! Anything I say that? Give me that go now. You going to my home. You wait for that bill. I won't force it. I say I won't force it.
Of course, native.
Force it, I will not force it. I will not, if I want to force it, I will go to jail. You will not be happy for it, so I will not force it. I will not die. Yes, I will not I beg you, brother. Don't do it. I rather for that stuff, baby. Without that day, what not protecting her. Hey, let's not separate. That's not our land. We may have to, try to. Okay. Yeah, you are cool. You got that everything. I am good lawyer. We are free. Yeah, we are everything. And when I go, yeah, people are always the only way you are the that and I go out to I think it's there I can be away, and I'm myself say, I will be there. I will be there. And then after that day, you know how we get, I will be the stop. Stop. I can't ever this. I didn't set my leg. She thought I did, I didn't get it. I said, oh, but when I look at the water, she said, no, I can't find it. Stop. I don't have sense. Stop, please. I didn't that. She thought I shot it. Hey! I want that. Well, that's what I mean. Otherwise, we need to operate, but that's all done in Germany. They are going something, and I want to do that. Now, for they are going to get down. I will not say that they because me, I can't get them, but I operate. Hey, I did not sorry. I want you, but the quality is like a brother. Say you love me, you don't put me. I said, man, sorry now. Sorry. Man, it's a wrong. Sorry. They get me hot now. Can't get me hot now. Those are all my love. But I can't tell you. I get that way. I get you. It's never more. We started this moment. Now it's there.
Woman get power. Woman who's a tanto made. Woman get power. Woman that is made from our way, the people get power. I said woman get power. Woman get power. Est-ce que oui, je suis en train de faire power. I know why I give me good drink. When you get hit, they just feeling me. But I get hard, John Gotcha. I will still know my way to go home. You want to leave a boyfriend? You catch you with girlfriend. You get plenty of men to be home, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, that was a brief performance by Native.
Thank you very much for that splendid performance by Native. Clap for him one more time. And
wow. The crowd has advocated for Native to return.
Baby, what are you taking? Okay, get my baby bottle water and I ain't drink. My bottle water, I want my people to stay. Oh, baby. I can't go there, you don't know how to we say, enter him and here school say. Now, but the short go, so I enjoy him out there. Because anything I can go. And then you will leave me, let me do me. If I enjoy myself, when I move, when I be myself. People were dancing, I choose to say yourself. People I went there for something. That's all they find out what I won't go and speak. I say, let me try my luck and see. Maybe she agreed. Then I go out for me to see someone who I left behind. So I thought to myself, yeah, be on me. Vamos, be on me, eagle. So I walk out the door, I say, find her, hello, how you doing? She say, she say, I say, partner, girl, she said, wow. They say, thank you. Baby, don't thank me, you deserve it. When are you deserve it? Baby, you want some water? So we start to talk.
That's Native. That's Native performing his song, Story.
To agree for waiting down, we get for the what she talking for? I thought I would have to. When I go back there again, she thought I sick and I'm here again. I won't force it. But when I force it, then the crowd will go to jail. So I play my queen, I choose to leave it. When I roll. I will go to TV. When
Native. Splendid performance by Native.
thank you, DJ. Thanks to Native for that radio performance. Hello. We yeah, guess what? Not that will be around the rest of the march, but it will not be easy. Say wetin happy. Say wetin pretty does. That is the end of the hello. Mondo, how are you again? Hello. Banata na le remise ne get o bi e fue follow by the minister. I didn't have to go my son where am I? You're proud for the president. It's a president thing you but I'm smart dots you can be pulling the who like girl. Nah, smart dots. Hello. Thank you for your home, man. Say, you didn't talk to you for your tears, but I thought I hear that very big girl here. Hey, you're here, please. I want to ask one question. We talk about gender based equality. What Y'all blow your best hand to the answer, no, we me a boy, we can blow band too. When they are one man, but I will give a boy, we me in band blowing. Right now, because of time, we go straight for vote of thanks, and this is going to be done by Honorable Minister Howard Johnson. Sorry, rather, Honorable Alice Johnson Howard.
So full of things to be done quickly here, and we are about to finalize this event. We're about to end this event right here. The vote of thanks is being done already. And so if you've been following this is LNTV Liberia Live, we're coming to you live from the Grand Theater of the Ministerial Complex, where the official observance of the International Day of Women is taking place.
Heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here today. We say a special thanks to our feminist in chief, His Excellency George Mangambia, President of the Republic of Liberia, and the First Lady for the sincere and appreciative gift they have given us today. I want to say thanks to the President for the provision of the DNA machine that will help the legal redress and ease identification of perpetrator of rape in our country. And also for the empowerment process or project that he has embarked on. So the government officials and officers today here and staff, we say thank you for supporting us in this fight to be here at this program. We say thank you to our diplomatic corps and all of our visitors, our UN partners, our NGOs, the women groups, the folk estate, and most especially our panelists that came up and said so much food for thought for all of us today. We say thank you. So the women group and organizations that have worked hard in Liberia, especially on cases of sexual gender-based violence issues in Liberia, we say thank you. Thanks to our UN partner, the one UN partner, and the EU, especially for the program that came into Liberia, that they are going to 5 counties to talk about rape. Most of the, the places the EU Spotlight Initiative, the 5 counties the EU Spotlight Initiative is operating now, we have improved in those areas. We say thank you. I want to also say thank you to all of us who have left our busy schedule today to be here, to come and make this day a success. I want to say thank you and God bless all of us. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. That was the Honorable Deputy Minister for Gender at the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, Honorable Alice Johnson Howard. We now move to the next item, is benediction, and it will be done by Imam Ibrahim Kamara, who's an imam from District Number 10.
Takbir. God is great. All the time, God is great. Before I lot have been said, a lot have been heard. But what I understood most importantly is love for each other, respect for each other, and respect for authority. In the Quran verse, chapter 23:10, says, for those who hear the word of the advice and follow the best thereof, such are those on whom God guides, such are those who have the understanding, the word of God. Can we please stand for the word of prayer? Blessed thou be, the most merciful, the most gracious, in whose hand lies the sovereignties of heaven and earth. O God, we know these were not created in vain, but rather to praise and glorify your name. We have come to your presence. We seek your forgiveness and your blessings. Grant unto us, O Lord, the bounty of this word and the next word. Forgive all our sin and remit from us our evil and guide us on the right path. We place the women of Liberia in your hand. Protect them from evil men. Protect our girls from evil men. Protect our mother from evil men. Protect our children from evil men. Protect them on our undertaking. Let them succeed on our undertaking. We place the government of Liberia in your hand, the president, the able lieutenant, and all those who are working in the government. God succeed them, strengthen their desires. No other name we call you, but we say you are almighty. You are sustainer. You are provider. You are arbiter of the universe. In your name we pray. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the more compassionate. All praises and thanks are due to Allah, the Lord of the world, the master of the day of judgment. Thee alone we worship, thee alone we seek for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom you bestow your peace and blessings. Bestow your peace and blessings on Liberia and the world at large. And guide us from the path of those who misguided themselves and end your anger and have your torment and save the state. Takbir, Amen.
We shall all remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
standing. Let us all remain standing as the President retires along with the First Lady, followed by the Vice President and the rest of our platform presidents.
Of course, this is Ellen Dixon. If you've been following us, we have been bringing you live coverage of the celebration of International Women's Day here at the Ministerial Complex. And that's how we love to come to the end of this broadcast. We could use the opportunity to talk to a few people, but kind of noisy. Bring you live coverage.